Welcome to Crafted Nest, the place where forgotten objects bloom into timeless garden treasures. Today, we'll wander through the world of rustic and vintage garden designs, each one born from recycled materials, each one carrying its own story. Here, creativity meets sustainability, turning old wood, glass, and metal into living art that breathes new life into your home. Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Crafted Nest so you never miss an idea that could transform your space. Together, let's craft beauty, one recycled piece at a time. There is something enchanting about taking an object once meant to hold a songbird and turning it into a sanctuary for living flowers. A rustic birdcage, whether rust-kissed or painted in fading white, carries stories of mornings filled with chirps and open skies. Now, when suspended in a garden, it tells a new tale, one of rebirth, creativity, and the quiet joy of nurturing life. Imagine stepping into your backyard on a soft morning. The air is still cool, and the first beams of sunlight spill gently through the branches. Hanging from a wooden beam, the birdcage sways slightly in the breeze, its metal frame wrapped in ivy tendrils. Inside, clusters of geraniums and trailing petunias burst with color, creating a small cascade of life. It feels like poetry in motion, as if nature herself decided to reclaim what once belonged to her. This idea is not just beautiful, it is practical. A birdcage already provides structure and airflow, perfect for hanging plants that thrive with space and light. Simply line the base with coconut fiber or moss, add soil rich with compost, and tuck in a mix of trailing vines and upright blooms. Water gently, and within weeks, the cage transforms into a green chandelier. What makes this design so captivating is its simplicity. You don't need a vast garden or professional tools. All it takes is an old birdcage, a hook, and a little imagination. As the seasons change, you can swap flowers for herbs, succulents, or even festive decorations. Each transformation adds a new layer of character. In the end, the rustic birdcage planter becomes more than decor. It is a reminder that beauty often lies in giving forgotten things a second life, a symbol of resilience and quiet elegance in your garden sanctuary. There is a quiet kind of magic when light meets glass. Along a garden pathway, old bottles once destined for the recycling bin find new life, catching the sun and scattering it in shades of green, amber, and cobalt blue. This simple idea transforms an ordinary walkway into a shimmering corridor of light and memory. Picture walking barefoot through your garden on a summer morning. The soil is still cool beneath your feet, and the edges of your path sparkle like a row of jewels. Each bottle tells its own story. A soda enjoyed during a picnic, a wine shared among friends, or perhaps a forgotten find from a community cleanup. Now, instead of being discarded, these bottles guide your steps, each glint of light a reminder of joy reclaimed. Creating this design is wonderfully practical. Dig a narrow trench along your path, sink the bottles neck down into the soil, and press them firmly so they stand upright. Mixing colors creates a mosaic-like effect, while uniform tones bring calm and elegance. When the rain falls, droplets cling to the glass, turning your pathway into a river of glimmering reflections. What makes this edging so appealing is its durability and low cost. Glass does not rot, and it requires no special maintenance other than an occasional wipe to keep the sparkle alive. It's sustainable, creative, and deeply personal. More than just decoration, this design speaks of transformation. It's about seeing potential where others see waste, about walking daily along a path of renewal. Each time the sunlight shifts, your garden reminds you, beauty is often just a matter of perspective. Once a tool of labor, now a cradle of beauty, the wheelbarrow carries stories deeper than soil. Its handles, worn smooth by years of use, have guided heavy loads of earth, seedlings, and dreams of harvests. Now it rests in a garden corner, transformed into a rolling bed of blooms, where hard work and grace intertwine. Imagine a summer morning when the air hums with bees and the sun paints everything golden. Against the green of your lawn stands a weathered wheelbarrow, its metal rust-kissed, its wooden handles softened by time. Instead of dirt and stone, it now holds a cascade of zinnias and daisies spilling joyfully over the edges. Each flower feels like a burst of laughter, tumbling in color where sweat once fell. To bring this design to life, all you need is a wheelbarrow, old or new, painted or raw. Drill a few holes for drainage, line the base with gravel, then fill it with soil and your choice of blooms. Trailing plants like ivy or sweet potato vines soften the rim, while upright flowers bring structure and height. Move it with the seasons, wheeling it into the sunlight or tucking it into a shaded nook, like a mobile canvas for your garden artistry. The beauty of this design lies not only in its charm, but in its symbolism. It is a testament to renewal, a reminder that what once carried burdens can now carry joy. Every passerby pauses, smiles, and perhaps remembers their own stories of gardens past. In the end, the repurposed wheelbarrow becomes more than a planter. It is living poetry in motion, proof that time-worn things, just like people, can bloom again when given purpose. There is a simple piece that comes with the sound of water. It drifts through the air like a soft lullaby, carrying with it the memory of rain and the promise of renewal. In the heart of a rustic garden, an old teapot finds new life as a gentle fountain, its steady stream transforming silence into melody. Picture a shaded corner beneath a leafy canopy. The afternoon sun filters through in fragments, painting soft patterns on the ground. An enamel teapot, its surface chipped and worn, pours a thin silver ribbon of water into a basin lined with smooth river stones. Around it, ferns lean closer, as if drinking in its coolness. A breeze stirs, the trickle blends with birdsong, and suddenly the garden feels like a private retreat. Creating this water feature requires little more than imagination. A discarded teapot, a hidden pump, a shallow bowl, and stones gathered from a nearby stream. Together, they form a piece of art that feels timeless. Unlike grand fountains, this one speaks softly, reminding us that beauty often hides in small details. The chipped handle, the faint enamel crack, the worn spout, these imperfections tell stories of kitchens past, now reshaped into sanctuary. What makes this design special is not just its charm, but the atmosphere it creates. Visitors pause, listening longer than they expect. Children lean close to feel the mist. The sound of water becomes a companion to stillness, inviting you to sit, breathe, and let the weight of the day drift away. The old teapot water feature is more than recycled decor. It is a reminder that even the most ordinary objects can hold extraordinary grace when we allow them to flow with new purpose. Long before plastic tanks and modern irrigation systems, water was saved in barrels, held in wood and iron, treasured like liquid gold. A vintage rain barrel does more than capture rainfall. It captures memory, tradition, and the rhythm of nature. Picture a garden just after a summer rain. Drops glisten on leaves, the soil breathes deeply, and in one quiet corner, a wooden barrel stands beneath a roof gutter. Its sides are aged and marked with time, bands of iron holding its shape. From the spout above, water trickles steadily into its belly, a soft echo with every splash. Around it, herbs thrive in the damp air, rosemary, mint, basil, nourished by the very water collected. Repurposing an old barrel into a rainwater collector is both beautiful and practical. The wood itself adds rustic charm, blending naturally with the garden's rhythm. Add a brass tap at the bottom, and the water becomes instantly accessible for plants during dry days. Unlike modern containers, the barrel feels alive, breathing with the seasons, swelling slightly with moisture, shrinking under summer's heat. This design is not only about sustainability, it's about storytelling. Each time you draw water from the barrel, you are part of an ancient cycle. Rain falls, earth drinks, life grows, and humans honor the gift by reusing it. Children marvel at the sound of droplets filling the barrel, learning silently that nothing in nature should go to waste. What makes this idea inspiring is its balance of function and poetry. It is a practical solution for gardeners, a nod to tradition, and a visual centerpiece all at once. The vintage rain barrel stands proudly, not as relic, but as reminder. When we work with nature, even the simplest tools become timeless treasures. There is a quiet delight in giving small things a second chance. A chipped teacup once used for conversations at the kitchen table can become a cradle for new life, a miniature world where roots settle and blossoms unfold. These tiny gardens in mismatched teacups carry both nostalgia and beauty, creating stories that whisper softly in corners of the home or garden. Picture a lazy afternoon, sunlight spilling across a rustic wooden shelf. Lined along at our teacups, one with faded roses on porcelain, another with a cracked handle, another painted with golden trim nearly rubbed away. But instead of tea, they hold moss, succulents, and tiny violets. A small fern peeks over one rim, its fronds brushing gently against the breeze. Each cup feels alive, transformed from vessel to sanctuary. Making these mini gardens is simple, yet deeply rewarding. All it takes is a handful of soil, a few pebbles for drainage, and plants that thrive in small spaces. Succulents and herbs are perfect companions, their roots cozy and content in the shallow cups. Place them on windowsills, arrange them on ladders, or scatter them across a dining table as centerpieces. Wherever they sit, they spark curiosity and warmth. The charm lies in their imperfection. No two cups are alike, no two plantings grow the same way. Each one becomes a reflection of its caretaker, a little ecosystem that rewards attention and patience. Guests pause, leaning in to admire the details, perhaps smiling at the memory of their own grandmother's tea set. In a world often rushing forward, mismatched teacup gardens remind us to slow down, to look closely at the small, the delicate, the once forgotten. And in that noticing, we find not just beauty, but a sense of home. There is something profoundly touching about an old wooden chair, a seat that once held conversations, laughter, and moments of rest. When its legs wobble and its paint chips, many would send it away. Yet in a rustic garden, even a broken chair can find new purpose, carrying not people, but blooms. Imagine a quiet garden morning. An aged chair leans slightly against a wall, its paint faded from years of sunlight. Where once there was a seat, now a pot brims with marigolds, their gold and orange petals spilling outward like sunlight captured in flower form. Ivy trails down the sides, softening the chair's weathered frame. What was once ordinary furniture now becomes a centerpiece, filled not with weight, but with life. Creating this design is simple and endlessly creative. Remove the chair seat and fit a planter pot, or line the hollow with coconut fiber and soil. Choose flowers that echo the chair's rustic charm, petunias for vibrant cascades, geraniums for bold color, or herbs for a fragrant, functional touch. Place the chair along a garden path, on a porch, or even in the middle of a flower bed to surprise visitors. What makes this idea magical is its story. A chair no longer strong enough to hold us is still strong enough to hold beauty. It teaches us that worth is not in perfection but in reinvention. Guests often pause, drawn by the unexpected transformation, smiling at the blend of memory and renewal. The recycled wooden chair flower stand reminds us that everything can bloom again when given patience and creativity. It is not just a planter. It is a story of resilience, quietly spoken through petals and wood grain. Some of the most inspiring gardens begin not with brand new tools, but with forgotten wood waiting to be reborn. A reclaimed pallet, once used to carry heavy loads, can become a vertical sanctuary of herbs, practical, beautiful, and brimming with life. Imagine a small balcony or a tiny backyard corner. Space feels limited, but leaning against the wall is a weathered palette, its planks smoothed by time. From each gap, pots of basil, thyme, rosemary, and mint spill their fragrance into the air. The leaves shimmer in the sunlight, releasing scents that promise warm dinners and soothing teas. The palette, once rough and utilitarian, now breathes like a living tapestry, layered with shades of green. Building this vertical garden is wonderfully simple. Sand the palette lightly, leaving its character intact. Paint it in soft farmhouse hues if you wish, or leave the wood bare for a rustic charm. Insert small pots or line the slats with fabric to hold soil, then tuck herbs inside. Water them gently, and soon your wall becomes a fragrant pantry within reach. This design carries more than just beauty, it carries history. Each nail hole, each faded stamp on the wood tells of journeys past. Now, those marks frame the fresh shoots of oregano and parsley, adding soul to what might otherwise be just another planter. What makes the palette vertical herb garden special is its adaptability. For city dwellers with balconies, it maximizes space. For those with larger gardens, it becomes a feature wall, an eye-catching blend of rustic design and green abundance. The reclaimed palette reminds us that even the humblest things can grow into something extraordinary, carrying flavor, fragrance, and memory with every leaf. There is something poetic about old windows. They once framed the outside world, letting in light and stories from beyond. When salvaged and repurposed, they can become more than relics. They can become guardians of new life, protecting seedlings as they stretch toward the sun. Imagine a corner of the garden on a crisp spring morning. A structure stands quietly, its wood worn with age, its glass panes catching the early light. Inside, rows of baby lettuces and peppermint seedlings lean toward the warmth, their delicate stems safe from the lingering chill. The flaking paint and tiny scratches on the glass are not flaws. They are details of history, holding hands with the future. Building a mini greenhouse from salvaged windows is a gift both to the gardener and the earth. It requires little more than a collection of old frames, a bit of sturdy assembly, and imagination. Each pane becomes a portal, each joint a bridge between past and present. The charm lies in its imperfection. No two windows are exactly alike, yet together they create a sanctuary for growth. This design is especially magical because it invites curiosity. Neighbors pause to look closer, admiring both the plants and the craftsmanship. Children press their noses to the glass, marveling at the tiny green worlds inside. And for the gardener, there is comfort in watching fragile shoots thrive beneath the shelter of old wood and glass. The salvaged window mini greenhouse reminds us that beauty often comes from what is saved, not what is bought. It is a lesson in patience, creativity, and the quiet joy of giving forgotten things new life while helping new life begin. As daylight fades and evening settles in, there is a moment when the garden transforms. The air cools, the leaves rustle softly, and shadows stretch long. Then, one by one, lanterns flicker to life, not store-bought, but born of tin cans once destined for the trash. Simple vessels, reborn as keepers of light. Imagine walking down a garden path at dusk. Above you, tin cans hang from branches, their sides punctured with tiny star patterns. Inside, candles glow warmly, sending beams of light through the holes and painting constellations across the leaves. On the ground, other cans line the path, guiding your steps with pools of golden light. The scene feels magical, as if the night itself is sprinkled with stardust. Creating these lanterns is an act of both creativity and care. With a hammer and nail, small holes can be patterned into stars, hearts, or swirls. A coat of rustic paint adds charm, though the weathered metal itself carries its own beauty. Drop a candle inside, and suddenly what was once forgotten becomes luminous. The charm of tin can lanterns lies in their intimacy. They don't blaze brightly like electric lights. Instead, they whisper warmth, making gatherings feel tender and close. Friends laugh over lemonade, children chase shadows across the grass, and the glow of recycled cans becomes the backdrop to memory. This design is more than decoration, it is ritual. Lighting the lanterns becomes an invitation to slow down, to savor the evening, to let the garden breathe into the night. From scraps to stars, the cans remind us that even the simplest things can shine, turning ordinary nights into moments worth remembering. Every suitcase carries a story. Once it held clothes, letters, and souvenirs of faraway journeys. Now, in the quiet of a garden, an antique suitcase tells a different tale, one not of travel across miles, but of roots settling into soil, of growth unfolding with patience and care. Picture an old leather suitcase resting open on a garden bench. Its brass clasps are tarnished, its corners worn soft with time. Inside, where shirts and shoes once lay, a new life spills forth. Succulents cluster in one corner, herbs rise gently in another, and trailing vines cascade over the edge like memories too full to stay contained. Sunlight glints on the suitcase's old travel stickers, hinting at past adventures now intertwined with the fresh beginnings of green. Creating this design is simple, yet deeply personal. Line the suitcase with plastic or fabric to protect it, add a layer of pebbles for drainage, then fill it with soil. Choose plants that thrive in shallow roots, succulents, small herbs, or compact flowers. Place it on a patio for gatherings, or bring it indoors near a window, turning it into a living centerpiece. What makes the suitcase garden enchanting is its spirit of reinvention. It honors the past without clinging to it, turning nostalgia into nurture. Guests pause, drawn by the unexpected sight of blooms where belongings once lay. They smile, perhaps imagining the suitcase's old journeys, now continued in a new way. The antique suitcase portable garden is more than decor. It is memory transformed into life, a reminder that even endings can be beginnings, and that beauty often grows strongest where stories overlap. Every garden has walls, boundaries, and edges. But when an old metal sign, once shouting advertisements or street names, is reclaimed, it no longer speaks of commerce or directions. Instead, it becomes a backdrop where nature writes her own message in leaves and blossoms. Imagine a corner of your garden where a rusted sign leans against a fence. Its letters are faded, half hidden, its colors softened by years of sun and rain. Slowly, morning glory vines begin to wind their way up its surface, their heart-shaped leaves softening the sharp edges. Delicate blossoms in shades of purple and pink bloom against the backdrop of distressed metal, a vibrant contrast that feels both intentional and wild. This idea is wonderfully simple. A salvaged sign from a garage sale or flea market can become a stunning vertical feature. Prop it against a wall or fence, or anchor it in the ground. Plant a few climbing vines at its base and watch as they transform the old sign into a living tapestry. The rust and imperfections of the metal become part of the art, a canvas for the organic growth of nature. What makes the metal sign trellis so compelling is its symbolism. It's about letting go of what something was meant to be and allowing it to become something new. It's a quiet act of defiance against waste, a celebration of second chances. Visitors see more than just a garden trellis. They see a piece of history given a new life, a collaboration between human creativity and the persistent beauty of nature. The rustic metal sign climbing trellis is a reminder that some of the most beautiful transformations happen when we give forgotten things a chance to grow. In a world filled with plastic and disposable things, there's a certain elegance in using the old and strong. Industrial pipes, once part of factories or plumbing systems, tell stories of hard work and purpose. When they find their way into a garden, they carry that history with them, transforming into something both artistic and functional. Picture a small city balcony or a quiet corner of a yard. A structure rises from the ground, made of dark, heavy metal pipes and curved fittings. It looks like a piece of sculpture, yet from its open joints, vibrant green life spills forth. Succulents with their waxy leaves nest in one section, while in another, delicate ferns soften the hard edges of the metal. The sun glints off the pipes, heating the air around the plants and creating a microclimate of warmth. Creating this kind of garden is a testament to ingenuity. You don't need to be a plumber. A few found pipes and connectors, a drill, and some soil are all it takes. The modular nature of the design means you can build it up, out, or around any space, turning a neglected wall or corner into a lush, layered sanctuary. It's a perfect solution for gardeners with limited space, bringing life up instead of just across. What's beautiful about this design is its contrast. The raw, industrial strength of the metal and the soft, organic life of the plants. It's a reminder that beauty can be found in unexpected places, and that every object, no matter how utilitarian, can be reborn with a new purpose. It's a garden that stands firm, a quiet statement of resilience and creativity in a world that often overlooks the power of what's already here.